Hi, PerspectaWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, January 8th. A lot to talk about this morning. The overall weather pattern looks like it continues to evolve into a colder and snowier type of pattern for the eastern U.S. for the medium term and the longer term. And in the short term, we have a real cold air mass coming in later this week. Actually be a couple of cold frontal systems passing through the mid-Atlantic region, one in the overnight hours and then a secondary front later tomorrow. That will usher in real cold air for Thursday, Friday, going into the weekend. There continues to be a snow threat for the upcoming weekend, but still some questions to answer with regard to how much snow could fall this weekend. Before we get to that, some powerful winds likely on Wednesday and Thursday associated with those cold frontal passages, perhaps gusting past 45 miles per hour in the I-95 corridor region, for example, from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City. A very damp and cold start to the day today, but it will turn milder. Let's take a look at the latest surface map and a couple things I want to point out. First of all, notice in this particular part of the Mid-Atlantic region, the winds are rather calm. Right in this region right here, Philadelphia region, for example, very, very light winds out of the north, or in some areas no wind at all. But if you go farther to the south, look at the wind barbs here. You're seeing a southerly flow of air, not only to the south here, but also out to the west here across the Ohio Valley. All these wind barbs are indicating a southerly flow of air about to reach southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York. In other words, it'll turn milder this afternoon after a very chilly start to the day. Temperatures near the freezing mark still in the suburbs of Philadelphia, for example, early this Tuesday morning. But by afternoon, it'll jump well into the 50s in D.C., perhaps to the upper 40s in Philadelphia, and the middle 40s in New York City, with a southerly flow, a light southerly flow of air and developing ahead of a strong frontal passage that arrives later on this evening. Well, we'll kind of jump around a little bit here in this video discussion now, kind of jump ahead to the weekend threat here. Wanted to take a look at the 500 millibar pattern here as depicted by the ensemble run of the GFS last night at 0Z. One of the main things we'll be watching over the next couple of days is the potential for a phasing between a northern stream wave of energy and a southern stream wave of energy. If these two systems can phase in time, the storm will strengthen considerably by the time it reaches the eastern seaboard later on this week. And if they don't phase in time, it'll be more of a weaker system, diffuse system, in other words, less snowfall. In either case, it looks like some snow is likely to fall, at least from the Pennsylvania-Maryland border on south this week. And looks like the temperatures will be cold enough for snow, by the way. This is the forecast map for Saturday morning. Just wanted to point out there's a wave of energy right in this region right here. You can kind of see the pattern in the heights here with a little trough right in this region right here, and a more impressive trough down in this region right here. And you can see again with the height pattern here, a secondary wave of energy here. And these are the two that may or may not phase in time to give a significant snowfall for the I-95 corridor region. Let's move forward here. Again, this is from the ensemble run of the GFS last night, 0Z. Now we move forward here, and they try to phase together, and here we go by Sunday evening. And let me just draw this now. Tending to phase together, but still a kind of a positive tilt to this upper level trough axis. We often talk about negatively tilted trough axis, which has the orientation from the northwest to the southeast, or a positive trough axis, which has the orientation from the northeast to the southwest. That still appears to be the case. If this can swing around a little bit more, dig a little bit more, this will intensify more over the upcoming weekend. So right now, it's still a mixed picture in terms of how strong this storm can get before it pulls off the eastern seaboard over the weekend. But again, the weekend storm threat continues. This is the sort of thing we'll watch over the next couple of days. Well, one other thing I'd like to show with respect to the upcoming weekend threat, this also is from the ensemble run of the GFS 0Z last night. We're beginning again the same Saturday morning time frame. Notice here kind of a range of red numbers here. What this represents is the location of the surface low by various ensemble runs of the GFS. What we do is we run computer forecast models with multiple initial input variables. In other words, one ensemble run may be a little bit more moist, another one may be a little bit colder, a little bit warmer, a lot of variability to initial conditions, and then run forward with the model and see what kind of differences will result. And this is the idea of the GFS ensemble run for early Saturday morning. Let's move forward here. I just want to point out and show what the ensemble run is doing in terms of the variability of the surface low position. Here we go now by a Saturday, late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And here we go by Sunday morning, low pressure tending to form off the southeast coastline here. Pretty decent consistency with the ensembles in terms of the positioning of that surface low. We move forward here, and there we have some interesting positioning of the ensemble runs here. Quite a variation. Some well off the mid-Atlantic coastline, some tucked in right near the mid-Atlantic coastline. And this is kind of the average, this circle area right here of where the surface low will be as of Sunday evening. This kind of positioning would end up producing more significant snowfall for DC, Philadelphia, New York City. Down in this region, suppressed to the south. More south of the Mason-Dixon line, certainly less up across Philadelphia and New York City. That's the sort of thing we'll watch and try to fine-tune over the next few days. Well, let's now look at the surface forecast maps from last night's FV3 version of the GFS model run at 0Z. A little bit of moisture, still very damp and cold conditions, a little bit of freezing still in the suburbs of Philadelphia, for example, interior New Jersey, north and west of New York City. It tends to get milder, and we saw those southerly winds, the low level just to the south and west of the I-95 corridor. That will boost temperatures well into the 50s in DC this afternoon and well up in the 40s in Philly and New York City. And here's precipitation mainly in the form of rain showers associated with an initial cold frontal system. Strong cold front arrives this evening. Could be occasional rain showers during the evening hours in DC, Philadelphia, New York City. And then after midnight, we'll see increasing winds. Noticeable pickup in the intensity of the winds out of the northwest late tonight. Wednesday promises to be a very windy day. Winds could gust easily past 40 miles per hour, perhaps even past 45 miles per hour or so. This low pressure area as of tomorrow morning, the 988 millibars, combined with a strong high pressure area over south central Canada, producing a tight pressure gradient throughout the northeastern part of the nation. And notice it intensifies here in a 6-hour period from 988 millibars to 980. In other words, this pressure gradient is intensifying during the day. On Wednesday, a secondary cold front will push through. Winds will become quite excessive, perhaps 45 to even 50 miles per hour midday and afternoon on Wednesday, and temperatures will slowly drop. In fact, it'll be a little bit colder on Thursday compared to Wednesday, which will be considerably colder than this afternoon. And here we go. Winds continue to be quite strong right through the day on Thursday. Then we get into Friday. Very cold for this time of the year. High temperatures struggling to pass 30 degrees in parts of the I-95 corridor. The good thing about Friday, however, is that the winds will be considerably less noticeable. Very little wind chill factor to discuss on Friday, but very cold, dry, sunny. And here we go. Then, again, this is from the FV3 version of the GFS model run. Some snow breaking out across the Ohio Valley by Saturday morning. Low pressure down in the deep south. And then, remember, we saw that ensemble putting some low pressure areas close to the coast here and some well off the coast. Let's see what happens here with this particular operational run of the FV3. Snow breaks out from DC to Philadelphia and New York City by late Saturday night. One initial area of low goes into the Tennessee Valley, and then a secondary starts to form along the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Here we go, that secondary right here along the Mid-Atlantic coastline. Close enough on this particular model version, the operational run of the FV3 at 0Z last night, for some snow to continue into Sunday. D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, perhaps rain down along the coast. And then that continues through the day on Sunday, according to this one model run version here. And finally we get to Monday. That pulls away. Cold air remains in place on Monday. It looks like there'll be quite a bit of cold air for whatever falls this week, and likely in the form of snow, certainly from the I-95 corridor to points north and west. What still is in question is how much moisture will gather together, how strong that storm will get along the Mid-Atlantic coastline this week, and we'll of course monitor that over the next few days. But in the immediate term, milder today, a strong cold front passes this evening, increasing winds late tonight, very windy on Wednesday and Thursday, and Friday will be a calmer day but very cold, progressively colder from Wednesday through Thursday, and then Friday. By Friday afternoon, highs will be struggling to reach the 30s in much of the I-95 corridor. That's it for now. For PerspectaWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.